When you pass yourself through fire of life, your unique selling point comes out. If you see people whose unique point is not selling out, whether he's a photographer, whether he's a shoemaker, whether he's a hairdresser, whether he's an events planner, whether he's an interior decor and does not have a unique selling point, they have not been through the fire of life. When you hit any ingredients, the aroma comes out. When you hit yourself, your unique selling point comes out. Yes, your unique selling point is your aroma. Wow. Intensity brings out your unique selling point. So let me tell you something. You are a combination of all your experiences.
How can somebody build resilience?
Resilience is attention, and attention is repetition. The more attentive you are to a thing, the more passionate you are. The more passionate you are, the more resilient you will be. Forgiveness is attention. If you give attention to something else, forgiveness will come easy. For you to be offended, you have to be idle. It's true. If you are engaged, if your brain is really engaged, you will break free from those things. Wow. Unforgiveness is idleness. When you begin to succeed, you will look at those people that mocked you and laugh. You won't even, the power to retaliate won't even be there, because you prefer to use that power more on advancing your business. Do you understand? So it's a battle of relativity. If you understand the past very well, you can predict the future.
Okay, now let's come to building your unique selling point.
Oh,
how do you do that?
Wow, every human being needs a unique selling point. The greatest rapper was one of the most metaphorical. Do you understand? Comedians have a unique selling point, and that's why they are relevant. You need a unique selling point. Mr. A cannot sound like everybody. Your meat pie cannot taste like everybody's meat pie. Do you understand? Your events cannot look like everybody's events, and you want to still be relevant. No, everybody needs a unique selling point. And guess what? Your unique selling point is your aroma. When you take potato and sweet potato, they smell the same. But when you take it through fire, plantain does not smell like potato when you fry them. Do they smell the same? No. When you pass yourself through fire of life, your unique selling point comes out. If you see people whose unique point is not selling out, whether he's a photographer, whether he's a shoemaker, whether he's a hairdresser, whether he's an events planner, whether he's an interior decor and does not have a unique selling point, they have not been through the fire of life. And I'll tell you the different fires. When you hit anything, the aroma comes out. When you hit yourself, your unique selling point comes out. I'll take it again. When you hit any ingredients, the aroma comes out. When you hit yourself, your unique selling point comes out. Yes, your unique selling point is your aroma. What's that fire? Intense practice. Intensity is fire. I told you the difference between consistency and intensity. Intensity is your fire. Intensity is your fire. Intense practice. It could be intense thinking. It could be working under intense working conditions that bring out your fire. Whether you are in an office that the work conditions are intense, or you are doing intense practice. When JJ Okocha came out with that his side step, do you understand? He was practicing intensely when the idea came. Intensity brings out your unique selling points.
Wow.
Intensity brings out your unique selling points. Intense hours of work, intense years of labor. It could be weeks or years. It could be days. But the common factor is intensity.
Wow.
Intensity. T-Pain came out with a unique selling point, auto-tune. He listened to about 1,000 records non-stop. He was just listening to find out what is unique. And then he found his unique selling point in auto-tune. Wow. Intensity brings out your unique selling point. So I hope that you key into that.
Now, that is very powerful. Now, what can you say about introspection and self-reflection?
They are very necessary. Introspection, going in to think, self-reflection, thinking about a lot of things. A lot of people have discovered their breakthroughs by introspection. People have discovered their breakthroughs in reflection. You know, I mean, look at some of the greatest businessmen. They said that, by the way, come to think of it, I won't mention the name, but a particular businessman who went bankrupt, billionaire, Forbes billionaire, he was bounced back. He was thinking of terminating and crashing on all closing down all his businesses. And he just felt like, come. In a moment of introspection, he said that, I've been through something similar in the past now. And I bounced back. That I'll bounce back from this one. Let me give you one more. When Germany won the World Cup in Italia 90, Lothar Matthäus was going to take one of the penalties, and he didn't take it. he told Andreas Bremer to take the penalty. And they asked him, why did you ask Bremer to take the penalty? You are the lead penalty taker. And he said, you know what? There's a way I feel whenever I'm going to lose a penalty based on introspection and reflection. And when that penalty was given, I felt that way. And I asked Bremer to take it. Germany eventually won Italia 90.
Wow.
Reflection, let me tell you something, because reflection makes you aware of the past, and the future is a replay of the past. I'm not saying an exact replay of the past, but it's because life is cyclical. If you understand the past very well, you can predict the future. You can predict the future. My friend Alan Littman has been able to predict the American president correctly since 1982 because of deep retrospection and reflection. Yeah.
Now, can you talk about the impact of past experiences on our emotions?
Of course. People that are traumatic, they are traumatic because of past experiences on their emotions. I'll give you the example of a woman, a girl who got raped by her lesson teacher. And the lesson teacher beat her after raping her. When she gave birth to a daughter, she never had a lesson teacher for her daughter. Wow. Whenever any man came near her daughter, she shouted. So you can't say that. I mean, let me tell you something. You are a combination of all your experiences. Except experiences that you decide to deliberately overcome. And even overcoming them, you must now begin to internalize a new experience before you manifest it.
Now, if you master your emotions, can it benefit your relationship generally?
Why not? Why not? That you have a husband who never gets angry. That you have a boss who never insults his subordinates. He treats them well, even when they expect him to be angry. Why do you think that people left? Do you know how many people left Donald Trump when he was in office? For Ryan Priebus, Steve Bannon, Omarosa Manigault, Anthony Scaramucci, Sean Spicer, Nikki Haley, John Bolton. Why? When you have somebody who feels like he can never be wrong, everybody's going to feel at the party. I can't work with this. Me too. I have my self-worth. I can't work under this person.
Wow, interesting. Now, is there anything like righteous anger? Because I hear people talk about, you can be angry righteously. Someone did something that is true, that your anger is based on righteous anger. Is there anything like that?
The anger that makes you to come out and vote, is it good or bad?
It's good.
The anger that makes you say that, listen, I grew up in an abusive household, and that anger makes me say that I will never abuse my wife. Is it good or bad?
It's good.
Okay. An anger that makes me say that I've been bankrupt before and will never be bankrupt again. Never. Is it good or bad?
It's good.
Wow, come on. You have righteous anger in many ways, in many expressions.
Now, how do you balance logical thinking in decision making?
Logical thinking. It's very necessary.
So that means how do you balance emotions and logical thinking in
making decisions? Yeah, there has to be a balance. So.
Because most people, when they make decisions based on emotions,
yes,
rather than logic.
Of course.
So how do you bring balance within it? Because sometimes you hear that people, because of that decision that was made out of emotion, is most likely a wrong decision.
Yes.
Because it's made out of emotion.
Yes.
So, but when it's coming from a logical reasoning, it's usually right. There's some people, they avoid anything when it comes to making a decision. They talk about that it has to come from a logical reason. If it's not logical, they don't make any decision out of emotion. They don't make decision when they're angry. They don't make decision when they're happy. They don't make decision. They just have to come out when it comes to they are logical in the reasoning before they make that decision. So how do you balance those two equations? Emotions and logic when it comes to making decisions?
You need to be in a very calm state before taking all those decisions. This is why. I've seen people do, when a footballer scores a goal and is happy and he takes his shirt off and gets a red card. Now, he took the decision in a state of what? Happiness, right? Was it a good decision? He took off his shirt and he was given a red card. Is it a good decision? So it's not just, I believe in that sometimes we don't just take wrong decisions when we are sad. We also take wrong decisions when we are very overly excited at times. So I also believe in that balance. Sometimes time can give you that balance. So when you give a decision 2 weeks, sometimes 2 months, 2 weeks for maybe, should I buy that thing, that item on the shelf? 2 months for, should I loan that person that money? maybe 5 months, should I get married to that person? You know, things like that.
What's the best way to approach forgiveness and letting go of grudges?
The best way to attempt forgiveness and letting go of grudges. My most preferred formula is what I call emotional distancing and thought replacement. I can give you an example. This is a clear example. A woman was in an abusive relationship with the husband. The husband also spent the money she was supposed to use to send her daughter to school. Do you understand? This woman was battling it. It was in a trauma of bitterness and unforgiveness. Do you understand? Now, what did she do? This is what I call thought replacement. She began to recraft her words of affirmations, and in line with thought replacement. Okay. She said, I'm angry that my husband beats me because I appreciate self-love. I'm angry that my husband spent the money for our daughter's tuition because I appreciate education for my daughter. So she now recrafted her affirmations to say that I love my daughter's education. I love my self-worth. I love being respected and appreciated. Do you understand? Do you understand the flow?
Yes.
So she started to focus more on my daughter's education rather than my husband spent the money. Do you understand? And I told you, back to what I said, which is a strong thing. Words intensely internalized will become images. Images intensely internalized will become experiences.
How does that tie down to forgiving someone for being hurt?
Yeah, because let me tell you something. Listen to this. I was in a hospital one day when I was having my bout with suicide. And I was feeling pain because they was treating me for infectious hepatitis and jaundice. And then I saw a nurse come into the hospital. This nurse fine. Benzik. Jesus. Benzik. When I saw this nurse, I forgot all the pain that was inside me. Benzik. Let me tell you something. There are things that, there's a way you can fix your mind on certain things that you will forget people who have offended you. Let me tell you something. When you begin to succeed, you will look at those people that mocked you and laugh. You won't even, the power to retaliate won't even be there because you prefer to use that power more on advancing your business. Do you understand? So it's a battle of relativity. Okay. Yeah, it's a battle of relativity. It depends. There is nothing like, forgiveness is attention. If you give attention to something else, forgiveness will come easy.
But you hear people talk about, say, I can never forgive.
No, because you have not, you see, for you to be offended, you have to be idle. It's true. If you are engaged, if your brain is really engaged, you will break free from those things. I'm telling you. Wow. Unforgiveness is idleness. Unforgiveness is idleness.
Now, how do you deal with how can somebody build resilience? What can you describe about building resilience and building it?
See, resilience is attention. Okay. And attention is repetition. The more attentive you are to a thing, the more passionate you are. The more passionate you are, the more resilient you'll be.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What is the overall thing someone can do to improve your life overall when it comes to your emotions?
Improving your life overall when it comes to your emotions is being deliberate. I'm a very strong on singularity. Pick 2 emotions that you can foster and foster them effortlessly, and you have an amazing life. You know, see, happiness is a skill. You remember what Richard Bandler said, the founder of neuro-linguistic programming. He said, happiness is like riding a bicycle. The more you practice it, the better you get at it. Yeah. So I believe in emotional engineering. I believe that you can engineer and engender emotions. And once you understand the principles on how it works, that it works like a machine, it works like a skill, it works like something you're trying to build, a plant you're trying to cultivate, it becomes effortless after a while.
Wow. What are emotional triggers and how do you approach dealing with them?
There are so many. Some people, an emotional trigger is something as simple as they're on a period. Once some women go on their period, they become very irritable. An emotional trigger is coming back home to a house that has no light. An emotional trigger is having a bad day at work. There are so many things that trigger us emotionally.
Sure.
Yes.
How do you overcome it?
Okay, simple. It's back to everything we've spoken about, emotional maturity. For example, if I'm triggered by painful periods, if I change my diet, I can overcome painful periods just by changing my diet. Do you understand? If it's the fact that I had a bad day at work, I need to now get to the point that I know how to convert frustration to innovation. Do you understand? Understanding how the brain converts it to innovation. So, what are you saying? What are you saying when those things happen?
Okay.
Do you understand? Because your words are most powerful at vexation points. Yes.
So, can you discuss the role of positive psychology when it comes to your emotions? What is positive psychology, and how does it affect your emotions? Are they related with each other, or they are different from each other? Positive psychology and emotions.
You can't practice psychology or anything that has to do with the mind without engaging some form of the emotions. Because if you think about a thing, you eventually feel it. Yes. You think about a thing, you eventually feel it. So you can't separate. Ultimately, there are two different things. Your emotions are not the same thing as your thinking or your psychology, but they work hand in hand with each other. So if you practice positive psychology, if you say, for example, you're going to look at a problem as a challenge, or you're going to look at a frustration as a billion-dollar innovation. Yes, eventually, if you internalize it sufficiently, you're going to feel like that. You're going to feel like, oh, this is it.
Does anxiety help someone, or mix, or work against someone? What can you say about being anxious, or being, when you're anxious about anything or something?
Yes, anxiety is not the most helpful emotion. This is what happens when you are anxious. You release some hormones. Adrenaline goes up. When adrenaline goes up, especially when it leads to excess cortisol into the brain, it begins to weaken your brain cells. Look at when a student is taking an exam and is anxious, 5 minutes to go, anxious. A lot of mistakes happen in anxiety moments. Yes. In those anxious moments, a lot of mistakes happen. Yes. Whether you're a footballer and in the moments of anxiety, you throw the ball over the net, or you are a musician and you make a mistake in those moments of anxiety. So, but it's not the anxiety, it's your perception and how you have learned to manage yourself during the anxiety. Because there are some players that even in those anxious moments, that's when they play their best. Do you understand? Yes.
That's what I'm trying to say. Can someone be anxious and then do better? Yes,
if you have trained yourself to that level. That's why all these daily practices of visualization, meditation are very crucial. Attention, enforcement is very, very better. And then it's not just your daily habits, your lifestyle habits. Am I going to focus on a few things? Those who have a more fulfilled life have few things that they focus on. They are not easily, they don't live plural lives. Do you understand? So,
wow, interesting. It's very interesting. Now, to round it up, what are the final things you think you can say regarding emotions generally? What are your last words that you have to say regarding emotions?
Okay. I would like to talk about the impact of pain and emotions. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
When you get to a point in your life where you are going through a bad situation, that bad situation can blinding you, and you say, okay, I'm jumping from XYZ to ABC, and you're not even sure whether ABC is better than XYZ.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So I just want us to be a bit careful and cautious. For example, when people were on, Nigeria was under Jonathan.
Yes.
We just felt like anything but Jonathan would be better.
That's true.
So we went from Jonathan to Buhari. Do you understand? So we need to be careful, because the discomfort does certain things to the brain, that it doesn't also allow you to think very clearly at times. Yes. Then the second thing I want to talk about is that there's a connection between ambition and delusion. Yes. So somebody with political ambition will also ultimately have political delusion. Yes. The part of your brain that stimulates ambition also stimulates delusion. So you see yourself when you have 60% popularity, in your mind, it feels like 80% popularity. It's not 80%, but that's what you see as 80%. It's possible to listen to a message or listen to a rendition. And the way you felt the first time you listened to it was not the same way you felt the second or the third time. When you give a lot of things time, or what we call emotional distancing, you are able to assess very well a lot of things. So what I advise people to do is that they should have lifestyle habits that aid for emotional mastery. Lifestyle habits that aid for emotional mastery.
You want to listen to the habit or include all what I've been talking about? Now, something just came to my mind now. What would you describe this kind of emotion whereby they said you see someone that maybe is an abusive relationship or at a particular kind of scenario or surrounding that is being oppressive or all of that, but rather than the person living it, the person is still insistent in it and doesn't even want any talk contrary to it. The person wants to remain in it. Say, this is what I want. This is where I want to remain. So someone will tell you that, like a case of that woman, they said she died because her husband was beating her. Osinachi, God bless you. She knew her husband was beating her. Yeah. She knew that whatever did happen, this and all of that. But she said, no, this is what I want. So there are some people that they say they get to a point. Like I used to hear this lady talk about the fact that her boyfriend used to slap her all the time. Like got to a point that if he doesn't slap her, she's not happy. She enjoys when he slaps her. Yeah. So she become comfortable with it, and that became her way of dealing with it. And there is no way you can tell her otherwise. What kind of emotion is that? Or is it on the positive side, or can it be broken, or what will happen for someone gets to that kind of stage?
Yeah, she had become very tolerant of it. So she had now begin to build a level of tolerance that now grew into what you call an affinity for it.
That it doesn't become a problem for her.
No. Yeah, she now enjoys it. Yeah. And you see, that ultimately has to do with habits are one thing, but your perception is another thing. So your perception will ultimately determine how a habit would manifest in your life, or how it would the trajectory that it will take. So let me give you an example. When you tell somebody that exercise can be very painful, whether you like it or not, running a marathon is not a joke. But there are people who run marathons with joy. They look forward to it, they practice for it, they train for it and all that. There's what is called learned helplessness. But sometimes I don't even want to look at it from the angle of learned helplessness. With any habits, there are people who run a marathon can be very gruesome. It can be grueling. You know, the first few days after a marathon, you are not yourself. Your body needs time to recuperate. And you see people still gear up for the next marathon and all that. The same thing with pregnancy. Some people go through very painful pregnancies, tumultuous pregnancies, and they still want to get pregnant again. Now, first of all, is your cognition, is your perspective. What do you see? Do you like it? Do you want it? When you want a thing, your entire being begins to look for ways to make it happen. Yes. So once, first of all, if you desire it, the next thing is, what are the principles you are putting in place to get it? If you work with the right principles and you have the right intensity or frequency, then it will come to pass. So if a woman is getting abused and is not saying no to it, I mean, people were in slavery for years and years. Do you understand? They were being raped and they were in slavery. But as long as they said, we can't continue like this, they eventually came out. Do you understand? So, but if they did not want to, slavery would still be preponderant today. So the first thing is that there must be a cognition and perspective. This is where you say there's conviction that I don't want this. So for people like that who get to that level of learned helplessness, if you look down, they have not come to a state where they say enough is enough, I'm tired of this, I'm not doing this anymore. They have come to a state of learned helplessness, and repetition is energy. Repetition is emotion. Because they have repeated it over time, they have now fallen in love with it. Listen, like remember what I said in the beginning, repetition is emotion. Repetition is emotion. Repetition is not just energy, it's not just attention. Repetition is also emotion. And I told you, repetition is belief. If you repeat it, you will believe it. If you repeat a thing, you may eventually believe in that thing.
do you think that is what leads to? What do you think might be the major cause of divorce? Is it lack of management of emotions, or how?
There are many things. There are many factors that lead to divorce. I mean, with the kind of research that has been done in the last 10 years on divorce, you look at so many factors. First of all, it's the character of both parties. First of all, character of both parties. Number two, you look at the purpose of those parties, their life purpose, their life mission. Also, then even environment, culture, these things shape things. Because if you look at 50 years ago, women had minimized roles, so there was less friction between the man and the woman. But 50 years later, the role of a woman is not, and I'm not saying that women should not have larger ambitions or goals, or that society should not change where women evolve and become more relevant. But I'm just saying that in a place where a lot of things begin to suffer a lot of disalignments, then of course, and all that, you know. So, but it's not just that. Even things like finances and things and financial landscape of society that we live in today. Our society is more materialistic. So if a woman does not get as much as she wants compared to 50 years ago, it's going to make her cast her in a certain light by society. If children don't go to a certain kind of school, or people don't enjoy a certain kind of life, you know. So all those things put together has contributed to that predicament of divorce that we have today. But it's not just that. Even cultures add to that. Cultures add to that. Our cultural dilution has also added to that. So 50 years ago, things that were taboos are now normal.
That's what I'm trying to even bring up.
So
because it looked like those days,
yes. But it's like I said, it's a combination of so many factors. So many factors.
The things that are taboo.
Yes. The society has changed. Society has changed. Roles have changed. In nowadays, you know, a woman is expected to even contribute to the expenses of some families, you know. So the man is not just working and providing. The woman is providing as well, you know. So the women don't have as much energy to love their husbands, because part of that energy, they are focusing on work, generating money. They also have to, so that's why the women don't have enough energy. Parenting is dying because there's less energy for parenting now. Women have to do more things. So the energy that they would have given to parenting is going towards building a business, building a brand, becoming, yes. I told you that life is about energy and attention. Yes. So whenever a particular thing is suffering, it's because the energy deposit in that area is depleted. Life is energy.
So we can go back to the time of, do you think the time marriage ways of mixing is much better than
I'm not saying that that's the only reason, and I'm not advocating that women should not work, or that women should not that women should just be, all women should be housewives. No. I'm saying that there are different factors that have led to challenges in homes and parenting. And it's not just marriages that have suffered. Parenting has suffered. Not just parenting that has suffered. Christianity and values have suffered. Morality has suffered. Yes. The intense pressure has not just affected marriages alone. It has affected morality. It has affected values. It has affected even the environment is suffering today. Wow. Yes. Because people are using more cosmetic, for example, because people are consuming more energy, it's affecting even the climate, the environment, the planet. Do you understand? So all these factors, so you can't just say that we can say, okay, these are the two main factors leading to divorce. Number one, people are not groomed enough well for marriage. The character is not there. They don't understand the values. They don't understand the principles on how marriage works. So there's a lot of marital illiteracy. Yeah. So that's the number one factor. And tied to that would also be, you know, the fact that purpose, a lot of people, their purposes and visions are not aligned. So after a while, the cracks begin to show. Especially when people want to chase their purpose, and no one person is not willing to lay down their purpose for the marriage.
Interesting. Wow, these are all powerful. Woo! This is quite interesting. God bless you very well for this you have done today. So finally, share with people how they can be able to reach out to you in case people want to reach out to you for any form of coaching and all of that.
Oh well, you can reach out to me on Instagram. Send me a DM. My Instagram handle is Olusanya Adekanmi. And you can go to my corporate website, emplnigeria.com, www.emplnigeria.com. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Thank you so much once again.
You're welcome.
This is highly impactful, and it's been quite long. I'm sure it's much longer than the first one.
Yeah.
But I believe it's quite insightful and interesting. Thank you very much. So that's it, guys, with Mr. Adekanmi Olusanya. I'm sure you have benefited a lot in this particular episode. We covered a whole lot regarding mastering your emotions. So I'm sure this will help you a great deal when it comes to mastering your emotions. So do remember to like this video and also subscribe to the channel if it's your first time of coming to the channel. And don't forget to share this video with 1 or 2 persons and turn on the post notification so you're one of the first to get notified each time we upload new videos. I do my best to talk on this channel on business, mindset, self-development, entrepreneurship, and also do interviews like this time to time. So this channel, I do my best to make sure I give you impact that will help you, your life in general, and your future. And this is definitely one of them. So thanks once again. My name is Benzik, and I'm a creative entrepreneur. I'll see you again next time. Cheers.